Hey dolls, you know what time it is, so let's play. It's been... Hold up. Before I get into that, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. So, it's been a while since I last uploaded. I was doing beginner VROID tutorials for beginners. I put out a few, and I think that was October of last year, 2024. And then after that, a whole lot of things have been going on. Just a lot of things in real life that was holding me back. But I did manage to get a new VTuber model created, even though I just made my old one probably sometime. I have it somewhere on the video. So I made this new VTuber avatar, and I kind of already want to make a new outfit for it. I'm not gonna lie about that. I want to just keep changing it. But anyways, I was able to make this VTuber model, and as well as my first MMD video, which took a lot. So I'll put the link to, it's the showcase for this model, and I'll put the link to that in the video description if you want to go check it out. I'm already very happy at how many views it has already got, which, you know, it's not as much as compared to other people, but it still makes me feel so happy. So, aside from all the moving around and everything that's been going on and all the slow internet and things like that I'm dealing with for now, then I actually was able to accomplish that. But I decided, since I'm sleepy right now, but I'm gonna be up for a while, so I was like, why not make this video too? So I decided to make this video starting I decided to try to finish the rest of the beginner VROID tutorials, because in our Discord, and people have been asking a lot of questions. This will not, of course, be the hair tutorial just yet, but I do plan on finishing it. I think that's the one that get the most questions on besides clothes. So those are going to be, I need time to plan them out, but since I've started a new project with a group of characters that I'm really interested in, and I'm gonna make them all as a VROID, I was like, okay, I might as well, while I'm making this VROID, just go ahead and do a few tutorials to try to get that knocked out the way, so that hopefully it could be helpful to people. So this is gonna be a very quick and hopefully easy to understand texture editing video for VROID Studio stable version, and I think I have version 2.12 or something like that. Without yapping too much longer, because I hate when people do this in a video when I'm looking for a tutorial, then I'm gonna go ahead and get right into the tutorial right now. Okay, so first things first, you're gonna, of course, open your VROID Studio, and I hope that you are familiar with at least the UI of the user interface of VROID Studio. If you are not, I would suggest that you at least go back and learn that first, because if you don't know that, then you shouldn't be into texture editing yet. So like I said, it's going to be a super easy tutorial. So if you see these tabs up here, each of these are parts of your VROID, and every part of your VROID that you see here is made up of textures. And so that if you want it to look, if you don't want to just settle for the presets in VROID Studio, and you want it to have a unique look of your own, then you want to edit the textures to make it look different. So if you wanted to make this t-shirt here from white to pink, then you need to edit the texture. and I'm gonna just quickly show you. So in each of these tabs there's something that needs editing of a texture. They all basically work the same. Hair is a little different, but I do plan on doing a hairstyling tutorial and texture editing included. But for the most part, all of the texturing has the same concept. And what it is pretty much, if you know anything about 3D modeling, there's a template where the textures are, and then once you edit that template, then it changes the look of the set mesh, I guess. So let me stop babbling. So I'm just gonna skip right to the important part. What you want to do is any said part that you want to edit. So this is everything about the face. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and go into editing the face, and the character I am making is a character named Paint. For my group known as The Artistry, is a story that I had when I was still a kid. So it's something like back from like 10 years ago, and I finally have the chance now to do something great with it. So this is the character I'm going to be making. Quickly I'm going to show you an example of how to do texture editing using her eyes. Remember, it's not limited to the eyes, everything works this way. So once you get into the texture editor, you're going to be presented, if you see here on the right, with the template, the texture template. And here in VROID Studio you can do all the texture editing if you want. So let me first explain. These are the layers, and you can make multiple layers by pressing this plus button. You can also add an image in by pressing this image icon with the plus button. So these are where all your layers will be. If you create a new layer and you want this layer to be underneath, you're gonna right click it and then click move down, and this is how you order your layers. They don't have like a drag and drop yet. So that's important to remember. And same thing to delete. You will just do that, delete, duplicate. You can make it change the visibility here. You can alpha lock it and there, or with this lock, and you can use this eye to make it visible. As you see, this lock, if you know anything about art and art programs, is basically gonna lock the pixels to where when you color on it, it stays within the lines, which can be very useful. And of course, to undo, you can press undo or the hotkey Control Z. And let me explain this color collaboration. This color collaboration is basically something that's going to keep it within the color that you choose here, regardless of what color you color in. It's basically going to keep it somewhere along the line. So if you see her left eye change, because you can do this for both the left and the right eye separately. This is something similar. It has something to do with shading. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what that's for in this case scenario, but these will keep it within it. So you see, like, this is brown because it's within that. Crazy. Maybe because that's green. Strange. It still is changing the effect of how the color looks. So that being said, got me why that didn't stay greenish. I'm confused. But yeah, it works something like that. And what else do I need to explain over here to the right? Well, let's see. This grid is gonna take off the grid. So this is pretty much the boundaries of the template. So anything you color outside of what's locked of this is not actually going to show up. but anything you draw within that circle is going to show up. So it'll be useful to keep this on if you cannot remember the guidelines of the template. This is right next to the grid is the mirror, so you can draw both on both eyes. And these tools are in each texture editing, each texture editor, like for the face, the hair, the clothes. These tools are all gonna be there. They're all the same. This is just to select. I actually don't find this very useful in the eye mode or something. More useful for hair. Brush, of course, is gonna be what you draw with, and to the right over here, you can see it's your color wheel, color picker. This here with the plus is very useful because you can save your colors by pressing that, and it will be added to your palette if you want to keep the same colors. These are your brush types. I would say this is a hard brush, so the color's more hard. This is an airbrush, so it's more soft. I don't know what to call this, but it's like a more rectangular brush. And then this one is like a soft rectangular brush. I think this is actually good for hair in VROID Studio. Let me delete all of that. And so here are your brush controls. Of course, we got the width, make it bigger or much smaller. And then the opacity is gonna lower how much the brush is seen, so it has a sort of see-through-ish transparent look. And I turned it down to 0 so it doesn't do anything, but with that, and it works for each brush. So it's not like on an art program like, let's say, Clip Studio Paint, where when you edit the size and the opacity, it stays on each brush. It just works for each brush. It's not like an individual custom edit to the brush. And this is for pen pressure sensitivity. If you have it changes the difference if you have an art tablet, or even maybe the mouse, but I haven't done it with the mouse in a minute. I really don't touch this. I suppose it's changing something about the way it looks, so I don't know. This is gonna change your layer opacity, so it's gonna make it more transparent. And these are your drawing modes. So if you know anything about art programs, they have the multiply, color burn, and it changed the way that one layer looks sitting on top of another. So this is not going to make a difference because it doesn't have a layer underneath. But I would just say to play with those and see what they do. The eraser is controlled by the same exact controls as the brush. And yes, if you change this for the eraser, I do believe it stays the same for the brush, which to me is off. I think that should be changed. Recent function that was added is the bucket tool, and I actually haven't really used it too much, but I guess if you feel tolerance, it'll fill more in even if the texture is there, and I assume that if it's less, then yeah, it does it by shapes or values, like that, basically. And I guess the fill opacity will control if it's more transparent or not. So let me see. So it's my first, so it's my first time using it. That's actually a very useful tool. Expansion. I guess that's how much more it spans out. Let me turn up the opacity. Alright, yeah, so it's going outside, so that's how much it expands beyond the space that's you're trying to fill in. So that will be a useful tool. And of course we got the blur tool. All of these tools are controlled by the same functions. So if you change it for one, it's going to change for every other tool. And of course blur, we know what that's for. It blurs and slows down my computer when I use blur. Why did I do that? Oh no. So yeah, if you don't have a very fast computer, don't put the blur tool up high and use it. And I mean like make a big width and then use it. Cause yeah, it did all that just to do that little blur right there. But so that's how the blur tool works. We're gonna undo that massacre that just took place. Alright, so that's the gist for texture editing inside of VROID Studio. But if you don't like the tools in VROID Studio and you can't really get the hang of the tools inside of VROID Studio, then yes, you have another option. You're gonna right click your layer and you're gonna press export. And when you export it, then you will be able to save it within a folder. Like so. And then you're gonna open it. Handy dandy art program. And then please wait on my slow computer. Okay, get into the program. Okay, so just waiting for the program to load. This is Clip Studio Paint, my all-time favorite art program. We fell in love like 2 years ago. We've been married ever since. Alright, file, open. You're gonna go find your very special texture. Blah, and you open it and you can texture edit right in your art program, which can be so useful, especially if you're using certain brushes. You can use all of your blending effects blending modes, because in VROID Studio you're limited on the blending modes that you have. One thing you're gonna want to remember is that if you don't remember where the guidelines is, then you're not gonna want to go outside of it. Then you're gonna, and you can't remember, if you cannot remember, then you're gonna want to also go to VROID Studio and export the guide, and each texture has its own guide. So that includes the clothes, so all the clothes have a separate guide. And it's important that you save the right guide and you know which guide. So I usually put it whatever I named the texture and then put guide afterwards, so that I can remember which guide belongs to which. And oops, what you're gonna do is import it into your art program right over your texture, so it can be a layer over your main texture layer. And then so this is how the editing is gonna go. And I will show you really quickly just how I would probably edit eyes. Now for the color character paint, her eyes are just brown, but I've been thinking to add just a little bit more flair or character design. So she looks like this. I'm gonna put the picture there, hopefully, if I remember, in my video editing stage. I think I want to add something to her so she doesn't just look so bland, like just so normal. And I'm trying to do that with all of these characters because I realize that they have a very normal appeal, and I want them to have more of a anime, cartoon, something character vibe. So I don't know if I want to give her different color eyes, but anyway, this is my process I would do. I would clip it to the main texture so I can keep the shape. Usually I like the overall shape or size that VROID Studio provides, because I have sometimes made some crazy looking eyes, so I try within the guidelines. So I'm just gonna get a brush and I'm gonna, oops, you know what, it's useful to work with a ruler. If you have an art program that has a ruler, then symmetry ruler, then you're gonna want to use that. So this is how I do it in Clip Studio Paint. If you have Clip Studio Paint, you can do it this way. I get the ruler, I press shift. That is what I did, right? Yeah, I press shift and it makes a straight line for me. But you want to make sure that this is completely even. So you're gonna get this operation object tool and click your ruler on your layer, and then you're gonna want to make sure that the center X here is exactly even, which if you don't know the calculation just by looking at it, then you can use a calculator. There's no shame in that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I think is it 512? Who knows? There's some I've learned by heart, but not this one. So I'm gonna open my handy dandy calculator. Calculator. Open. Yes. Waiting, loading, waiting, loading, waiting. Okay. And then we're gonna do it by the width. And that's 1024 divided by 2. And you get, okay, so I was right, it's 512. So that's what you get, 512. So you're gonna wanna go to your center X and type in 512 so that you can have a completely even ruler. And that's gonna help. If it's not even, it's gonna be a mess. Let me see. So I'm going to color this in black. And I don't know what color I should make her eyes. I wish I had somebody to ask right now. I'm thinking purple. Hold on. I'm gonna pause this and go look at the characters. Okay, so I'm back and I decided that I'm gonna make her eyes a sort of bluish gray. Not that that doesn't make her look unhumanly, but let's see, something like these. You know, I always would like for my characters' eyes to look all shiny like that, but I usually have a hard time I don't know, figuring out what makes it that shiny, watery way, you know? But yeah, maybe something like this color. And usually I do like for the eyes to be a little softer around the edges. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this ruler down here for a minute. I think you can copy it, but I don't know, I'm crazy, I just pull it. So I'm gonna either erase around the edges, let me see, or blur it. Because I do like the whole soft eyes look. Usually I feel like I'm erasing too much of it for some reason. I just need a bigger brush, but one is not gonna, yeah, delete a chunk like that. Okay. Softly, softly. I said softly, let me see. Brush density, maybe that's too high, I don't know. Okay, let me see. Probably should have went for the blur tool, but throwing it this way now. You know what, bump it. I'm freaking gonna just create a new layer, and I'm actually gonna take this, or maybe I'm gonna take this. Come on, you stupid bastard. Excuse my language. This here. And then I'm going to turn this up just a bit. And then try to stay within the size. But make it like, ooh. Let me just turn this down. Oh, this one. Turn it down. And I'll do this so that I can see what the freak I'm doing. Okay. So make it nice and soft. Circle this. Well, defined enough, but not too defined. And I hope that this darn mic is picking me up. It's a different one than I normally use. I usually use like, I forget what it's called, but it clips to your shirt. Okay. There we go. So I'm just gonna actually get rid of these ones. Why does it seem like it shrunk significantly? What did I do? Okay. So obviously some of this is the other one, and I need to expand this just idiot. Expand this just a little like this. Now am I doing too much? Kind of. Stop it. Okay. Maybe not. I don't know. I just want that soft watery look, you know. That's what I want. Okay. Now I'm gonna create a new layer over this one and clip it. And remember, you can do whatever the freak you want to your texture editing. You don't have to follow my lead. This is just the way I do it. I am probably gonna make this in time lapse just to make it more bearable, because this has actually turned out longer than I dream. Okay, do this just like that. That, and then make another layer, clip it. What the freak? Clip it. I said clip it. And then I'm gonna actually get this pen tablet. It is old as time. I'm away from my pen display right now, so I have to use this SWEETMAGIQ color edition. Maybe I should go ahead and select this color and do a let me see where the pupil is. I feel like it got less dynamic right here. It's just like, what the heck? But I'm gonna keep going for my sanity's sake, and for the sanity's sake of the viewers. It hurt me. And then So I'm gonna save this as a clip studio paint format, and you could do this in whatever art program that you're using, just in case you want to come back and edit the textures. So yes, in this folder I already have everything. References saved for every part. References actually will help improve your VROID, I do believe. I'm being overly neat with this. I usually am not this neat. I mean organized with it. So we're gonna put I'm just gonna name it I. And so that's the first. So if you want to save your texture so you can edit it again later, just save it as either a Photoshop document or CSP or MDP for MediBang or whatever it is that the program saves the file as. But anyways, so once you're done editing your texture, what you want to do is save your file as a PNG. And sometimes, like for example in MediBang, is going to let you know that it's going to be transparent and all of the layers are going to be merged once you save it as a PNG, and you need to just press OK on that. But remember, if you only save it as a PNG, you're not going to be able to go back and edit your file not with ease. So I'm going to put I text save. So okay, Clip Studio Paint sometimes will notify you as well, but I did check to don't show me this again because it wastes my time. So once you're done editing your texture, you're gonna go into VROID, and remember this icon that I pointed out to you, the picture icon with the plus next to your layers. You're gonna click that, locate your new texture you just made. Got it in her folder, and I'm gonna put it in. And that looks really amazing. But remember, any layer that's underneath, so you know how I wanted her eyes to look softer, it's not looking softer because this layer is underneath. So you're just gonna right click that and then click delete. And there you go, you've edited a texture successfully. So for each part of your VROID, like I mentioned before, there's a texture, and you'll either edit it within VROID Studio or take it into an art program to edit your texture, and then you'll import it back into VROID just like I showed you. And that's all there is to texture editing. So hopefully after today, if you are a beginner and you didn't understand how to texture edit at all, you can begin texture editing, at least even just eyes. But just remember, each thing works the same. Each thing has its guide that you can export if you're going to use an external art program. And remember, once you finish texture editing, you might want to save two files. One to back up your texture with the layers, so if you need to go back and re-edit at a later date or make another texture out of your already made texture, then do that. And then you'll need to save your texture as a PNG and make sure it is transparent. So if there's any selection box to select, be sure that it's transparent, do so. And then save your file, then go back into VROID Studio and import the texture. Remember, if you want something with transparency or something, which most of the time VROID Studio does not support complete transparency, but let's say you wanted something to look a little softer around the edges, like the eyes for instance, or you erased the part that you didn't want to show on the texture, then you need to delete any layers underneath. I hope that this video has been helpful to someone somehow. If it has, please leave a like and a subscribe.